Good evening, everyone. This time, we're going to swear in new elected public officials here, new council members. Mayor Annaline will be conducting that, and we'll start the meeting as well. Thank you, Mayor.
All the new members would please rise. Ms. Honey, has everybody brought their papers for them?
Yep.
We're going to do this as a group. Everybody please raise your right hand. I state your name. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this Commonwealth, and that I will discharge the duties of my office or position with fidelity. Congratulations, John. Appreciate that, sir.
Not true.
All right.
You're a visitor. All right, I'd like to call the meeting of reorganization for the Monaca Borough Council on Monday, January 4th to order. Ms. Honey, may I have a roll call, please? Mr. Snyder,
Here.
Mrs. Rossi. Here. Mr. Michael,
Present.
Mr. Boer,
Present.
Mr. Zigarelli,
Here.
Mr. Wilson,
Present.
Mr. Shotter,
Present.
President DiMarzio,
President?
Mr. Nolder,
Present.
Mr. Rossi,
Here.
Mayor Annaline.
Present. If everyone will please rise and do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, at this time, I'd like to take nomination for election of council president.
Mayor Annaline,
Sir.
I'd like to nominate John Boer for council president.
Second nomination.
All right,
I'd like to nominate Frank Snyder, council president.
second by Mr. Nolder. Any other nominations? Okay, at this time, we will do a roll call. Ms. Honing, and you say either Mr. Snyder or Mr. Boer.
Mr. Michael,
Mr. Snyder.
Mr. Boer,
Mr. Boer.
Mr. Zigarelli,
Mr. Boer.
Mr. Rossi,
Mr. Boer.
Mr. Nolder,
Mr. Snyder.
Mr. Shotter,
Mr. Snyder.
Mrs. Rossi,
Mr. Boer.
Mr. Wilson,
Councilman Boer.
Mr. DiMarzio,
Mr. Boer.
Mr. Snyder,
Mr. Snyder.
I have 6 for Mr. Boer. Is that correct? Mr. Boer. Congratulations, if you'd like to come up.
Oh, that might happen soon enough. That might be soon enough.
At this time, Mr. Boo will take over the meeting.
First, I'd like to thank Mr. DiMarzio for his passion and commitment over the years for holding this meeting. Thank you. Nominations for election of vice president.
President. Daniel Zigarelli.
Dan Zigarelli. Need a second?
You don't need to second the nominations, you just.
Any other nominations?
Mr. Michaels.
Mr. Michaels? Any other nominations? Okay, Dawn, can you take a roll call?
Mr. Shotter,
Mr. Michael?
Mr. Snyder,
Mr. Michael?
Mrs. Rossi,
Mr. Zigarelli.
Mr. Zigarelli,
Mr. Zigarelli.
Mr. Boer,
Mr. Zigarelli?
Mr. Rossi,
Mr. Zigarelli?
Mr. DiMarzio,
Mr. Zigarelli.
Mr. Nolder,
Mr. Michaels.
Mr. Wilson,
Councilman Zigarelli.
Mr. Michael,
Mr. Michael. Six, four. Mr. Zigarelli, congratulations as the new vice president.
Thank you very much.
I'll now take nominations for pro temp. Mr. Shotter. Any other nominations for pro temp?
Mr. DiMarzio.
I decline. Thank you, Zig. I decline the nomination.
Any other nominations for pro temp? Congratulations, Mr. Shotter, you're the new pro temp. Now we need to appoint somebody to the vacancy board. Anybody?
President Boer, did we receive, or I don't know, I should direct this probably to Mario or Don, did we receive a letter from Mr. McKay?
I did not receive a formal letter. I did hear that it was something that he was interested in, but nothing formal in that.
I direct this to the solicitor. Do we need a letter of interest for this, or can we just nominate somebody?
You can just nominate someone.
Okay. I'll nominate former council member Jeff McKay then.
Does that require a second, Rich?
Not a nomination.
This is an appointment.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But an appointment, I'm sorry, yes. Yes.
I'll second that. Is there anybody else that has a recommendation? Any questions on the motion? All in favor of the appointment of Jeff McKay to the vacancy board, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. 2016 council meeting dates.
Mr. President, can we move that? Mr. Wilson, would you like that moved?
The dates are what's attached, correct? Can we table this until later after discussion?
Sure.
I'll make a motion to table until the end of the meeting.
I'll second.
Any questions on the motion? All in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. The other appointments, solicitor McMillan, York, Tosi, and Jones Law Firm.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Appointment for engineer, Whitmer Engineering, Tony Sadaka.
I'll make that motion. Second.
Any questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Sewage Enforcement Officer, Larson Design Group, Michael J. Groves.
So moved.
Second.
Any question on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Borough Treasurer, Richard Bebout.
So moved. Second.
Any question on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. The depository banks, Huntington Bank, First Commonwealth, and West Banco.
Make a motion. Second.
Any questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Independent Auditor, Mark C. Turnley, CPA.
So moved.
Second.
Any question on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Building Inspector, Middle Department Inspection Agency, John Bowser.
So moved. Second.
Any questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. EMA Coordinator, Jeff McKay.
So moved. Second.
Any questions on the motion?
Question,
Yes.
is that a new position?
No.
Is it a paid position?
There is a stipend to it.
And what will the stipend be?
It depends what you guys want to set it for. I believe there was $2,400 was budgeted for that line item, which is $200 a month.
Is he strictly our EMA coordinator? Okay, thank you.
Any more questions on the motion? All,
Has it been cleared up if there's a county incident? He's going to be responding as a county asset or a borough asset?
That is a hypothetical that I am unable to answer that, but I would think that his work and employment would probably full priority.
Right. All right. With that, then I'll withdraw my second on this motion.
I can't answer that.
Right.
I'll second the motion.
any more questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Mr. Michaels and Mr. Schroeder voted no, 8-2. Local Health Officer, Nick Flores.
So moved. Second.
Any questions on the motion?
Question, any conflict with his day job? Or how many hours, let me put it this way, how many hours does he have to put in for this?
He works as needed per application. His days off are currently Mondays, and he handles any inspections on his off days, and he's only compensated when he does an inspection.
Thank you.
Any more questions on the motion? Frank?
What is that compensation?
It's hourly, but typically the fee that the health inspection cost covers that amount. It varies depending on the inspection.
set fee?
There's not a set stipend, no.
And that, apologize, Mr. President, that's a budgeted item already taken into consideration, correct?
Yes.
Any more questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Code Enforcement Officer, Rental Inspections, Ronald Hope.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is approved unanimously. Fire Marshal Paul Lyons.
So moved.
Second. Tongue tied.
Yeah.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Planning Commission, Mike Brandenburg, 4-year term ending December 31st, 2019.
So moved, sorry.
Second motion.
Any question on the motion?
Question. And I'll make it so we don't have to do this every time. Is there a stipend involved with all these appointments?
Not, actually, they do get $25 a meeting, only, when a meeting is held. There's sometimes where we can go the whole year without a meeting, sometimes there can be a meeting every month, but historically, there might be 4 meetings a month, or a year. So, and they get, if they attend, they get the $25. If they don't attend, they don't get it. Mr. Lyons, I believe his stipend is $100 a month for a fire marshal.
We should incorporate that policy here.
Any more questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Downtown Business Authority, Nick Mandalakis, 3-year term ending December 31st, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
No stipend.
Mr. Zagorelli, Mr. DeMarzio. Any questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Zoning Hearing Board, Mark Gianetti, 3-year term ending December 31st, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions on the motion?
No stipend.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mike check. Work over here.
For Brady.
Frank, Randy, Gary.
Library Board, Sarah Davis, 2-year term ending December 31st, 2017.
So moved.
I'll second.
Any questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Board of Appeals, Glenn Ramba, 3-year term ending December 31st, 2018.
So moved. So moved.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? New business? Anybody have any new business? Old business?
I might have new, depends on whether Mr. Wilson wants to bring it up at this time.
Yeah. It was discussed numerous times over the past 2 years in regards to entertaining going back to workshops. I personally would like to make a motion to go back to workshops. Having a workshop meeting and a voting meeting twice a month, so I'm looking at the dates that are listed here. I'm fine with the dates that are listed here, so I'd like to make a motion to have the workshop meeting, then the voting meeting. Upon the workshop meeting, to vote upon bills and minutes. Second.
And any emergencies?
Any emergencies, new business.
First by Derek.
Just want to comment on that, because the code doesn't recognize a workshop meeting per se. So if the thought is that you have a workshop meeting and can't do anything at it except discuss, that would be a wrong perception. Because you advertise it, you say in your advertisement that you can take, and imply that you could take any and all action, so that if you have a matter brought before you that needs to be acted on, you can legitimately and legally do it at such a meeting as long as it's advertised. If you have a gentleman and gentlewoman agreement that you're not going to vote on anything, having been here for 30 years, I think that agreement probably would end after about the first minute of the first meeting, just based on experience. But you could have that kind of a tacit agreement among you that you're not going to vote on anything and that you're just going to discuss. But also keep in mind, for those that have been on council now for a while, you do have things that come up that need to be acted on and can't wait until the next meeting at which you're going to vote. So just keep that in mind.
How would you word it then, Rich, if you don't want to call it a workshop?
Well, you could call it a workshop, there's nothing wrong with the use of the word, but know that because it's advertised, you could act and take official action at that kind of a meeting. So like they do in the legislature and in the Congress, sometimes they'll deviate from their own rules and take action to vote on something. You could do that, meeting by meeting. However you want to frame what you're going to do at those meetings, I would suggest that you maybe think about that, and at your first workshop meeting, develop a list of what things you want to do and things that you don't want to do, so that you can be organized when you meet at those sessions.
For better clarification of what I was looking for, and I think amongst the individuals that we spoke to in council last year, was more so the workshop meeting is more of a discussional meeting with the option to always vote on anything under new business. So, for instance, just for clarification for a lot of the new members and some of the members that may not have been involved in talks or discussions in regards to it, your agenda normally looks at motion to approve. This workshop meeting would be to discuss upon, but there's always new business and old business where, like John was saying, in regards to emergencies, stuff could be voted upon then. Does that make better sense to everyone? Clarification?
Informational,
Frank?
informational, that's what it's based, and then it's tagged a workshop. So that's its sole purpose, make our council better aware and make better decisions. In an event of a special meeting, like Rich said, then you can gather everybody.
You have something?
No, I'm fine.
Fine.
I don't know what's different than
Yeah, so
what we're doing. I'm confused. I mean, it's nothing different than what we're doing. You know, we put items on there that we're not prepared to vote on, and we talk about them. And they're there for discussion. If the board sees to it at that meeting that there's no controversial and you're comfortable with voting on it, then somebody can make a motion and just vote for it then. But it's no different than what we're doing currently. I'm not seeing it. I'm sorry. I'm confused with.
Well, most of the discussion will happen at a singular meeting. And at the second meeting, I mean, you can have a couple
Again,
discussions
I've been
on
here
that.
8 years, and I would concur with, based on past practice, there's been policies where, and I've seen that there's been nothing on the agenda, but an issue would arise, and action would be taken on a specific meeting. So, again, scenarios arise in municipal government that need to be tended to, and calling it a workshop, it's a meeting, you are all here at any one point in time. If somebody makes a motion and there's a second, there's a roll call, whether it's workshop or whatever, you're here as a board, and if there's a motion and a second, roll call needs to be taken, workshop or not. So, again, I'm just not seeing the reason. You know, we established a while back that if it was the first time introduced to council, that it would just be discussed, and that's why it was always put on there. But there were times that items were put on there just for discussion purposes, but someone would make a motion, there'd be a second, and it would get voted on. And that's the decision of you all.
Mario, I'm looking for the fact that we had committees before. Not only didn't everybody attend the committee meetings, and John DiMarzio tried to split us in two, there were two committees, and there was a lack of disclosure between the two committees. I, as a councilman, feel I should be informed on every issue that needs voted on, and I don't feel that I was. I would like the opportunity for that meeting. You want to call it a disclosure meeting? That's fine with me. But there were too many things that I walked in here, and there was a motion made I didn't know anything about it. And there were some things that I knew nothing about that transpired on the other committee. So however we want to word this, that's fine, but that's my reasoning for backing Derek on this. I want disclosure. I feel I have the right as.
And I respect
to know
that,
the
and
issues.
you do, and I think we make a very honest attempt of trying to get these packets out to every council person on Friday. In all fairness, Councilman Michael, I've never received a question from you on Saturday, Sunday, or Monday, or Tuesday in regards to anything on here. So,
No,
you know,
that's not what I'm
if you
saying.
had questions, you did have ample time to at least inquire on it. You're indicating that you came to a meeting, you didn't know anything about it. You had the whole weekend to ask questions on it, okay? And I'm gonna be candid here, you know, a lot of this is attend the meetings, or attend your committee meetings, and you'll be informed. And I'm not isolating or picking on you specifically,
That's fine.
but I think a lot of the controversy of people not knowing is because you don't attend. You know, if you don't attend in a meeting, then you're not gonna know what's going on. Now, it's not my responsibility if you miss a meeting to inform you. There's minutes, go back and read last month's meeting and find out what happened then. And that's the problem, you know. There was an issue that came up at last meeting when I wasn't here, and people didn't know anything. We've been talking about solar panels at the water reservoir for 2 years. The application, I would not submit the application if council did not authorize me to submit it. And then I'm hearing that people didn't know anything about it. We've been talking about this for 2 years. The meeting before it, we awarded the contract to it. That was just a formality of authorizing the president to sign it. And people asked that they didn't know anything about it? Come on, Jeff.
That's not what I'm talking about, Mary. There were committee meetings, 2 committee meetings. There are issues that belong at this table for council to decide. And people have gone out on their own and made decisions. Basically subcontracted contracts that we voted on. That's what I'm talking
I
about.
have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, I got plenty of examples.
Sure,
What I want to do, all 10.
sure.
If you don't show,
What's this contract that was subcontracted?
I think I've got the floor right now, Mr. Leone.
You're making a serious accusation there. Where's this contract that was that the council
Where do you want me to
didn't
start?
know?
Want me to start?
Yes, please.
CJ Mansion.
Which contract?
Are we owed money from the daycare center?
Yeah, there's money on it.
I was not informed of that at all. And the committee made a decision to make the person a deal. 10 of us voted, spoke to the woman, and we let her rent our property. Somewhere between 1 and 5 people made a deal to give her a break. Nobody else was informed. It didn't come up in the committee report. I'll give credit to Mr. Wilson. Everything that got discussed at the water, sewer, and public works meeting got disclosed at this table.
Okay?
Everything that happened at general government did not. That's one example. I'll bring you the list.
Okay.
And that's why I feel Mr. Wilson has a good point. When we're all together, if we're making a decision, we make it as a team. Period. And then you live with it. That's why I'm backing Derek on these meetings. It's not about workshop, to me personally, and I'd like you all to consider that when we vote. It's about disclosure.
Well, then maybe there needs to be more disclosure when we're talking at the meetings.
Well,
That's part of it. I'm gonna push for disclosure.
And I guess, Mayor, unfortunately, you were out sick last meeting, that's what I was more so trying to speak about is transparency. I agree 100%. If you're not at the meeting, it's your own fault.
And I
Don't
didn't
read
miss
your
meetings,
package.
by the way.
And if you don't read your packet, it's your own fault. And that's where I stated it. More so, as for a workshop, is something to be discussed. Currently, right now, the meetings are held where it's put on there as for a motion, and a lot of the times, the individual president doesn't even get the reading of the motion completely out of his mouth, and somebody awards to it. I'm trying to stop that because I agree 100% that I hear the same things from a lot of the same people saying, I don't know nothing about it, I don't know nothing about it. And their laptop's still sitting on the desk here and they didn't go home. So if they didn't receive the email and they didn't look at it until 5 minutes before the meeting, it's on their own fault that they don't have that. And I completely agree with that. And you're exactly right. The point that I'm trying to make is that we shouldn't rush to vote on something so we don't have to hear that. Because a lot of my frustration last year and prior was that there's not enough time that you're allotted to talk. Meetings were rushed through. And I don't want to see that, so that's why I said I would like to see go to a workshop. Now granted, it can be called a workshop or not a workshop, you're exactly right, you can vote on anything. I think we've all had a gentleman's agreement in regards to the way we voted, and I don't think it really got pushed under. The only other point that I did want to clarify was in regards to that grant and the solar panels. I don't know if you're talking about me or not talking about me, but I'll give you my opinion in regards to it. I asked that question at that meeting, last meeting, in regards to the positioning of the motion. The positioning of the motion was to sign the contract that was already awarded, and then have a hearing 3 weeks later. All the other discussions that we've had, and unless I'm wrong, because I did go back and read the minutes, stated nothing about a hearing was going to be needed. The hearing at all was going to be needed. That's why I questioned it, and my exact question was, if 2 people said no, and 3 new people were coming in, we have potentially go to 5 and 5. So I don't think we should sign into a contract, literally sign a contract.
I follow you, yeah,
In
yeah.
regards to giving
The
somebody
steps
money.
and sequence, there's.
Right, so that's the only difference that I like to make a point in regards to that. But I agree, there's a lot of stuff that is talked about that people forget, and they shouldn't forget, but you gotta be in a meeting to understand. And my point was, we have a workshop, and I believe I expressed this to some of the members when we discussed this, is if you have a workshop, and you miss that meeting, it's your responsibility to get with the borough manager, not with me, not with Eddie, not with Sager. It's your responsibility to get with the borough manager. I would like to see you get with them between Monday and Friday, because you're human too, and you have a family, and you have a life, and I'd like you to see your weekends off, and nights off, and from 8 to 4, someone get a hold of you. That's where I was going with it.
Mr. Zugerlin?
I just want to put my 2 cents in, and with absolute respect to what Mr. Michael was saying about disclosure, which I agree with, what Mr. Wilson was just saying about reading the packet, and the only reason why I just am saying that I don't see the need to put a fancy title, or whatever we're going to call this special meeting, because if A, we can vote anyway, then I don't see the difference, and if B, if we're going to load it top-heavy with discussion, from past experience on the council for the last 2 years, if certain council members miss the meeting, then we're gonna end up rediscussing everything again.
That's what
the
happens,
following week.
that's
That's
what
why I
I
don't
see
see
occur.
why we're top-loading the discussion. If you wanna be informed, I agree with what Mr. Wilson said, and then it's your responsibility to make the calls and become informed. The other council members shouldn't have to sit through the same discussion twice.
And if you do not contact the borough manager or other council people within a 2-week period of the meeting, you should not even be allowed to ask a question on it. If you don't do your homework and read what is given to you, I mean, this building's open 24/7 for us council. We could come in here at night, come up the elevator and get on your lap. You can, yes you
I
can.
didn't know if you
You can't get in the office, but you can get on the internet.
So if we top-load the one meeting of the month with discussion, what happens to the second meeting of the month? No discussion?
No, there'll be, if there's something new brought up, but what we discussed in the previous meeting.
I'm saying that rhetorically,
No.
because there's gonna be discussion in the second meeting anyway, so it's like, I just don't see why we're.
That's what we're trying to change that, so there isn't the question going into the second meeting. Do your homework, read up on it, and come to the meeting ready.
Okay, I'm new to all this. Now, is this open to all, or is it open to a select group? To all? All right, that's what I want to know.
Both meetings, irregardless, whatever
All
you
right.
call it, is gonna be open to all as well as the public, because
Very
you will be
good.
meeting as a
All right,
forum.
I'm new, that's why
Yeah,
I'm just asking.
yeah.
All right,
So putting a name or a title and saying this is workshop, this is,
all right,
right, you can do the same business in either one, so why why call it?
Okay.
Basically, the agenda has to
That's
change.
what I'm asking, okay.
The agenda has to change for one of the meetings for it to be top heavy with
The
discussion.
general consensus is, we want to discuss things
Very good.
at one meeting, vote at another meeting. So it'll be put on that way. And as long as everyone continues in that format and doesn't want to rush and make a vote, because sometimes that occurs. It's on there to discuss, but there's no controversy, everyone's okay, and it gets voted on.
Just so, I mean, new people understand, I mean, back, whatever, 12 years ago, when we used to have a workshop on a Thursday, and then we'd have our regular meeting on a Tuesday after that. So it was a few days, so, so you would discuss it on Thursday and vote on it on Tuesday, that's where the workshop thing comes. But that was the only 2 meetings you had a month. So you basically had a meeting, 1 meeting a month, where you were really doing something. Well, there's so many things that happen, you know, the manager has all this stuff going on, so that's why we went to the 2 meetings that we could vote on.
It's based on.
And our credit rating is much higher doing it the way we're doing because we're able to pay bills every 2 weeks instead of once a month.
Thank you.
Brandy?
Would we still have committees without the work, with the work, how would that work?
Yeah, there'll still be committee. There always was
Two
before.
committees.
Well, I don't know if there'll be 1, 2, 4, 5, whatever. Any more questions? You did motion
Yes,
I motion
and second.
in second.
a workshop.
Okay.
Like it was 4 years ago. This changed 4 years ago when new presidents came in. It isn't something new. This is 4 years ago. I got paperwork right here and I'll hand the book down. But I got a motion, he seconded it, you can vote on it how you want.
These are, the motion's on the meeting date and the request that one of the meetings primarily be a workshop for discussion. Any more questions on the motion?
Workshop will be the first meeting of the month.
It'll be determined if it's gonna be the first or the fourth. I mean, I'll have to get with him, I mean, the second or the fourth. Whatever.
The workshop will be the
Second Tuesday?
second Tuesday of every month.
So
What's financially better for you, Mario?
Huh?
What works financially better for you? I mean, we have
I'm
the
just
option
gonna
to vote if you
be
have
redundant
something
with
we
my
need
comment.
to
I
do.
still don't understand what changed, I don't understand the verbiage change, what it gained. You're still advertised, you're still able to take action, you're still gonna pay the bills. The only thing you're making is that you wanna discuss every motion. The first meeting, and then you'll vote on it at the second. If that's the practice that you want to take forward, then everything will have to wait till that first Tuesday to be on there for discussion, and then you guys will make a motion to put it on the following agenda. I think in some matters, it will lag things, but we'll.
I'm not saying there's not gonna be discussion at the fourth Tuesday. If there's something new comes up and under manager's report, you're gonna bring something
Then
up
you're
for
gonna have a work
discussion.
session, then you're gonna have a work session at every meeting.
No, try to primarily have most of the discussion done at the one time. And any small little items that come up towards the end of the month, you could throw it under there, under the manager's
We're
report.
trying to do that, but the way things.
Right?
I just, if Derek's already make a contingency, you know, you're gonna have bills throughout the month, and that should be expedited. But as far as the information, that's a given, that's gonna help everybody out. And then as far as, you know, whatever you would declare, the first one, the second one, but, you know, it's business as usual.
Okay, a motion to accept these dates for the year 2006. John, you have some?
Well, I'm not positive, but I have written in my thing that April 26th is the primary election. And then typically we don't have borough meetings on election days. I don't know if you could check that. I mean,
We've changed that in the past,
yeah,
so, you know, we could still accept the minutes, right, or the dates, but change that date, right? We have in the past, John.
Yeah, I think we changed that date to like the Wednesday
to the
or something.
Wednesday following.
Are we gonna have to re-advertise?
Well, this hasn't gone in yet, so we'll make whatever changes need
Right,
to be made.
Right.
So we'll make it for the 27th.
April,
27?
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Anybody have any old business?
Question,
Frank?
Mr. Gordon.
Yeah.
I diverted to Mr. Wilson. Under new business, and
Oh,
I'm gonna say maybe I don't know, but we just discussed appointments. And is that a borough thing that we appoint? Because I'm looking basically, a lot of these people are contracted, but we appoint people rather than put out the contract. I mean, every corporation I know, every year or two, everything is out to contract. And the people have a right, if you're in place, to rebid it again, but it also gives opportunity to people on the outside. So, is this standard procedure to appoint all of these people, or is it standard procedure, do we have contracts with any of these people?
That's your prerogative.
Well, then I'll defer to Mr. Urick. Do we have a contract with you, sir?
You had a contract with me initially,
Okay,
and it's carried over for 30 years with modifications by virtue of a letter that I set forth what my fee is. And I don't need to spell out what work I have to do, because the work I have to do is prescribed by the Borough Code, and it changes day to day. And it really is encompassed by whatever is a matter of legal concern I'm in charge of and have to carry through with. But you could open up all appointments. Any councilman has the right at any time to ask for any position to be subject to having someone else submit a resume, submit a proposal. Any one of you could do that at any time. Does that answer your question?
it does to a point, yes. Thank you.
Yeah, but specifically, if you're asking, are you required to have a written contract? Is that what you were asking?
Well, I've never, and I thank you for your service. But there might be some people on this list we don't want for 30 years. And are we inside the law here by not putting a lot of this out for bid?
You are inside the law,
We are?
yeah.
Okay.
And at times, having a contract might be an albatross, because if you do, then the argument could be that you can't get rid of me until my contract is done. But in my position, I'm hired to be fired. If you don't like me tomorrow and you make a motion to get rid of me, I'm gone.
And that's part of the reason we have appointments? Or you're suggesting that appointments are better than contracts in that respect?
In many of these professional capacities, yes, because you're at the will of the council.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, at any time, they're in their professional services, so they don't have to be bid. And again, in this particular matter, I just kept things status quo. I didn't hear any dissatisfaction among the board members. Probably for agenda purposes, those probably should have been left blank. And then for all you pick whoever. But this is who we've had for years, and unless somebody had objection to it, it could have been raised.
Yeah,
It's not so much the people, it's the fact appointment versus contract. That's the question, so it was answered, it's fine. I like the appointment better.
That will.
That will, thank you.
We need to backpedal a little bit. Mayor just made me aware that November 8th is also election day, so we'll have to change that to November 9th. You have to have a new motion.
Did you already,
Well,
you could have, did you approve this already?
Yes.
You could entertain a motion to amend the notice of meetings by amending that November 8th to November 9th.
Okay, I'll need to entertain a motion to change the November 8th to November 9th.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Frank's out of the room, so it's none. Anybody else with new business? Old business? Jeff?
Yes, the property we bought on Pennsylvania Avenue. And we shut the water off.
Which property? We have a couple properties or something.
The Wilsack property.
Yeah.
Well, any property with
Jeff,
a
you know what,
water
I
supply.
don't know, I'm gonna have to check on that, it's a good question.
And are we
I
heating?
don't know if that's confirmed. No,
Okay.
the utilities are shut off,
Okay.
yeah.
I don't own the
The
property.
electric and
have
gas
a-
are shut off, I don't know confirming on the water whether that was shut off or not.
I would suggest.
But
that we
yeah,
check
yeah,
that.
especially with the weather.
Yes. Or winterized, how's that, Mary?
Well,
That would be inclusive. That would-
Dawn and I were just talking about that today, we're getting bids on the demolition of that, so hopefully, that'll be coming forward here, one of the meetings this month.
Anybody else with old business? Mr. DeMargio?
No,
Mr. Zigarelli?
No, sir.
Mr. Wilson?
Can we go in executive in this type of meeting? I apologize for my not knowing. Can executive be held in this type of meeting? I apologize for not knowing.
Yeah, with the reason for the executive.
I know that, I'm saying, does it have to be advertised for a certain thing? Are we able to conduct business in this meeting is my question.
I didn't prepare your advertisement for this meeting, so I don't know. If you advertise it just to reorganize,
Okay,
then that would be the business about what you conducted. It's not a regular meeting.
okay, thank you, that's all. No.
It was advertised as a reorganization.
No business, thank you.
Mr. Noler? Mr. Snyder?
You know, getting the road program off early this year, you know, hopefully we can, put down some blacktop in each ward. We had a discussion in the past, and, we also got late last year. Maybe we can, get the bid in, or what we need to do early, and hopefully get it down, good weather.
Mr. Rossi? Mr. Schroeder?
Can the new council members just be provided with the open items from the old business list from last year that carried over, or will be carried over?
Yes.
That's it.
Mayor?
No, just make sure I get your things filled out.
If the newly elected, you can stay after the meeting and with Dawn, we need some additional information from you.
This time I'd like to entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?